Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, Entitled Dad wants my granny-in-law's wheelchair. Entitled sister demands I take her children to Disney with me and my girlfriend despite knowing it's a secret proposal trip. My neighbor has been yelling at his parents for hours. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Entitled Dad wants my granny-in-law's wheelchair. So, several months ago, my granny-in-law was in an accident that was not her fault. This resulted in both her fake leg and real leg getting broken, among other injuries. Granny is just full of rage. She's 80 years of rage, people. She had fought hard for decades over wanting to be independent and never be put in a home or become someone's burden. She wanted to live in her own home, take care of herself, and die in her own bed. Sadly, the accident made that impossible now. She'll never be able to walk under her own power again, and she's hurting herself using a walker or whatever you called those wheeled things. She wants to live at home, however, she knew she would need someone there constantly, and hired a day nurse and a night nurse to come take care of her. She refuses to move into any home, relatives or otherwise. Well, in an effort to get her out of the house, me wifey and I would take her out. Yes, we were being very careful about where we were taking her, and going all out on masks and antibacterial everything. We try to take her places that weren't too crowded, but also wheelchair accessible. Well, a mall that was about an hour out of town had reopened. It's a sad place, because many of the stores were closed, and possibly would never get any new business. It was a dying building, but the food court still had excellent food. We went there today, the kids were off playing with some friends, so it was just me wifey, me granny, and myself, taking laps around the mall, taking turns on who pushes granny. Now, granny was wearing a long skirt, but didn't have her fake leg on. You couldn't really see that she had one leg, unless you were looking very closely. So, I can kind of understand why this ED thought that my granny had two legs. See, we got hungry, and went to the food court to get healthy, food to eat. We pulled up to a table, and started to chow down. Then, ED appeared. I don't even need to transcribe this part. It's a dime a dozen story about an entitled parent that wants the wheelchair that someone is currently using. We say no, she says no and cannot walk, and the ED demands it for his son. He was sitting at another table, looking like he was out cold, he was that tired looking. Granny finally had enough, and looked at him right in the eye and said, "Young man, this is my chair, which I need to move about. I don't care how tired your kid is, he cannot have this. I would not be able to walk at all." ED, obviously, replies, "You may be old, but you don't need it at all. You can walk, you old crone." Granny got red in the face. Old crone? Looky here, little boy, I may be old, but I can kick your ass, even if my only leg is in a bad shape. ED scoffs at her, "I bet you're only faking about having one leg." Granny looked like she was going to yell again. Except, she just grinned. She turned her chair to him, and lifted up her skirt. She showed him that she was, indeed, missing a leg. "Think I'm faking here, kid?" She goes in a snide tone. "Think this is a fake stump?" ED looked embarrassed, and tried to talk. Granny wouldn't let him, she actually lifted up her stump a bit. "Why don't you touch my stump? Come on. It might be a real stump, might be fake. Touch it and see. Touch my stump. If it's a fake stump, the chair is yours." The guy backed off and started for his table. Except, Granny started to wheel after him, yelling at him, "Come on. Touch my stump, you know you want to. Touch it." Me wifey was cracking up at this, so I had to be the one to grab her chair and bring her back. The ED picked his son up and carried him out of there quickly. Granny was grumbling about how rude that man was, but she looked so proud of herself. What few people there that was in hearing range was also laughing, although 2 people looked disgusted at my granny-in-law. Screw them. At least that got some of her anger out of her system. The situation calmed her down a great deal and cheered her up. Oh hey, it's an old woman. I should definitely take her wheelchair because that's a wonderful idea, not like she would end up to be disabled or something. In all seriousness, this grandma deserves the Best Grandma on Earth award. Best Granny in the Universe. 80 years of anger. I love your grandma already, to be honest. Please tell your angry grandma I love her. Honestly, no matter if she was faking it or not, what makes ED think he can just have something like that? Touch my stump, you know you want to. I love her so much. Entitled sister demands I take her children to Disney with me and my girlfriend despite knowing it's a secret proposal trip. So I, 31F, and my girlfriend, 32F, are planning a trip to Disneyland Paris, not for any time soon with the pandemic but still planning. It's not as big as say Florida but it's closer to us, it's also both our first time going, and as my girlfriend is obsessed with Disney it's where I'm planning to propose to her to make it more special. My sister knows I'm proposing as she helped me pick out the ring and she was very supportive until she found out where I was planning to propose. She doesn't approve of it as we're not kids and has stated that as we're not children it's weird and how if I wanted to go there I should take her kids who are 10 and 6. I love my niece and nephew but this is a special trip for me and my girlfriend. I explained this to my sister and I thought she understood, but next time I was overseeing her kids they were upset as she had told them about the Disney trip and they couldn't understand why I wouldn't take them. I tried to console them but I felt very put on the spot and upset by this. I ended up leaving not long after and my sister keeps badgering me to take the kids now as they're so upset. The worst part is my girlfriend is starting to feel guilty and wondering if we should just take the kids with us. Stay strong. Your sister is trying to manipulate you and her future demands will only escalate on the future if you give in now. She definitely manipulated her own kids and their emotions to try to manipulate OP and it sounds like it's working on the GF. I agree with this commenter. Stay strong. And if it's so important to her kids, why is OP being painted as the bad guy when she can't be kid to take them herself? Tell your sister she's the one who upset the kids, but telling them about your trip with expectations that they are going with. It's supposed to be a romantic trip for you and your GF, not a free vacation for her and her kids. She gets a free babysitter if you take them. You don't get squat, except for a buttload more responsibilities in this situation. You don't even really get to have a romantic dinner with her if that's the case. How does she not see this? The location of your trip is irrelevant, and your sister's feelings are equally irrelevant. You are taking your GF on a trip to propose to her, not to babysit her kids. End of story. If she chooses to get upset, that's on her. Your sister upset her own children, not you. That is pure emotional manipulation. She knew you didn't want to take them and the reason why, yet she still told her kids and continues to try and make you take them. Ignore them, they will get over it. Maybe take them on a nice day out to a theme park at some point, they will be just as happy. Honestly, she's an incredibly vile person for putting her own kids through this emotional turmoil. She's horrible. OP should tell her so, as often as possible. Your sister sounds really jealous. Tell her to get it together. My neighbor has been yelling at his parents for hours. So, I cannot sleep because my next door neighbor is yelling at his folks. We will call him Yeller. They moved into his house temporarily because a tree fell on their house. Yeller is helping them pay for it, and we didn't hear about any trouble with them for the 2 weeks they have been in the neighborhood. Apparently, though, they are the type of people that thinks that buying too many expensive things make you snobbish. From what I can overhear, yes I know I shouldn't be listening in but I can't sleep, they had been selling off some of his stuff. Game and game councils. Watches, clothes I believe. Apparently, they were putting that money towards groceries, so it sounds like they are not keeping that money themselves. They did this yesterday and today. Oh wow. Apparently, Yeller went out to dinner with his GF and was proposing to her. Only when he opened the ring box did he find that the ring wasn't in there. Parents took it and pawned it for gas money and cleaning supplies. Wow. I don't think his parents are staying there much longer. They even pulled out the "your stuff is our stuff" card. And calling him spoiled. I am hearing him yell at them to get out of his house. Honestly? In what reality is it okay to sell off your host stuff? Kid or not, that is rotten. Think they are quieting down a bit. Hopefully I can sleep now. Update: found out he called the cops on his folks. He is going to make them sweat a bit until they agree to get his stuff back. Or he will press charges. You date again, sorry. Sorry, I forgot to put this down. I did ask about how he didn't notice that the ring was gone until he proposed. Because I checked in the box earlier in the morning. I put it in the jacket I was going to wear, and thought I didn't need to check again. I did ask how his GF reacted, and she was as upset as he was. But they just both concluded that the ring might have fallen out or slipped out. He didn't want to think that his parents had anything to do with it right off the bat. She said yes, by the way. They wouldn't be my parents anymore after something like that. I would report the ring missing to the police as his parents stole it. They have no right to sell his things. And this is how you end up disowned by your child. And it makes your child's life so much better that they have zero interest in reconciling. Apparently, Yeller went out to dinner with his GF and was proposing to her. Only when he opened the ring box did he find that the ring wasn't in there. Parents took it and pawned it for gas money and cleaning supplies. Hold on. I wonder what the GF felt like to being proposed to with an empty box. This is a whole different kind of drama. I mean, if the GF is worth her money, surprise and shock, but not much else other than trying to console/calm down Yeller so he wouldn't start their betrothed life in jail for double homicide. I can only imagine the poor guy's feelings though. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.